okay. Yeah, his clock getting a little stronger there. Yeah. He said that you told him you would chat with him. Yeah. You said you would chat with him in your UK voice?
No. Never that.
We're going to have a chat thing. What's funny is he came in the other day. I forgot what we were doing. I think we were finishing up the vlog. My man, I said, so bro, what you eat today? Because you know you got to talk to him, ask him. He said I had some porridge.
Oh, my God. I've never seen anybody in my life eat that. I mean, I've been around, too, but like, porridge?
Man.
What does it taste like? Honey. Oh, shit. We got a real-life bear in this month.
He said he had porridge. And I'm sitting there thinking, Goldilocks? Is that the right story? Is it Goldilocks?
Yeah. You're talking about, is it Goldilocks? No.
Is Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right?
Yeah, Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Yeah. What do you guys call that story in London? Same thing?
Well, hold on. Where do you buy porridge from in Dubai?
It's the UK, though. So all them Marks and Spencers and all that, you know they got that on there. Yeah, that's the oats. I was like, okay.
King and Yates, they bridging the gap from the US to Dubai, put pins on the map. Ball is life, and that's a fact. And a baller's life, about that exact. King and Yates, they bridging the gap from the US to Dubai, put pins on the map. There's a time to score and a time to assist. Ain't no I in team, let the winning commence. From generation to generation, game don't stop. The new and old school got the game on lock. It's all legendary, it's all necessary. We all been all-stars before February. And after that, King and Yates, after racks. But really trying to get some wins, not just padding stats. Two basketball lovers through happenstance. Built a bond that led to greatness that advanced.
BTG Nation, what's up? We back at it. Let me do my horns and my loud noises. What's up, guys? Where we at? What episode we on, Ellie? This episode 4? 3. No, episode 3. Can't even count that way, right? Getting a little ugly, man. BTG Nation, what's up? It's the young OG here, Ryan Yates. I'm here with my OG, triple OG, JK. I had somebody send a message and say, yo, I love what you and Jupac doing. I said, oh, that means you and I know a different king. Shout out to him, too, though. And, checking in live from Dubai. Hoop Mountain Dubai, Hoop Mountain.ae, all those good things. Man, what's up, OG?
One of those days, man.
Hey, look, I'm beat.
Well, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
But mentally, I'm zapped, man, because the traffic today. I know everybody's tired of me talking about it, but it's getting crazier and crazier.
You know, when I left today, because we didn't work out afterwards, so we left at a reasonable time. I still was hitting, and I was stuck in traffic at like 2 o'clock.
Right.
And usually the rush hour don't start until like after 3:30, 4.
Right.
I was like, what?
No, it's crazy.
And then when I get to the top, I realized it's only like this because somebody's car broke down. Now that's something we need to talk about in Dubai. Why are you guys not getting your service done on time? There's too many cars that just break down out of nowhere and people just sitting on the side and they just, there's a thumb out.
In all fairness, that can happen anywhere, though. That happens a lot back home. You know that.
A lot back home.
You know that.
It don't happen like this, though. I'm talking about in the middle of the highway.
Come on, man. You know your light comes on, you need service, but your money's a little tight. It'll be all right. Give me another week.
But King, we've seen far too many times when somebody was stuck at the first car at the stoplight.
Yeah.
And your car just died. And it's not even, it's like a 2019 Lexus, the big boy one, or you know how they like the Nissan Patrols. Like, what's going on, man? So a lot of you men don't know how to take care of your cars. That's another thing. You weren't taught well. You need an OG to get you right, man.
It's true.
That's another thing, right?
I think the biggest thing is that I saw today. I thought it was a car that was broken down. It was a lady in a far left turn lane, and it's like 4 lanes of traffic. She's in the left lane exit, and she stops with her blinkers on. So I thought her car broke down. And as I slowly go around her, she's just on her phone.
Oh, she lost.
She's probably trying to get directions, but I'm like, yo, you can't stop right here.
Right here.
Like, this is crazy.
Listen, I'm coming off. This is a funny one, right? You know that train station where the Dubai Garden Center is? It's like on the same side as a lot of those car dealerships and things on Sheikh Zayed Road, right? Mm-hmm. It's like if you're coming from the backside and you're going towards Hester Street or you're getting closer to the Mall of Emirates. And I'm coming off the exit, right, to merge onto the highway, Big Dog Highway, 5 lanes, 6 lanes. Everybody getting off here to get to the main one. And we're on the right lane, and everybody just automatically stops, put the hazards on. And so the car in front of us, right, puts on the hazard. So I'm thinking like you thinking, broke down? No. He stopped his car in the middle of the road, right, with everybody coming in, merging into traffic to let somebody in the passenger seat jump over the barrier to get to the train station. I said, yo, what?
That's crazy.
What? That's crazy. What? Like, imagine.
I don't know who's crazier, the driver or the guy jumping out.
Imagine coming off of 493 95 off Duke Street and you coming off that exit and somebody just stopped right there to let them jump over to get to Landmark Mall. What used to be Landmark Mall.
Road rage about to jump off.
Somebody gonna get shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, but Dubai is what it is. Other than that, it's all up. The weather is turning into paradise. Slowly but surely. You can start to smell it in the air.
Well, that's why I'm congested because, it's hot outside.
Freezing.
This is what it was. It was hot outside. You come inside, it's freezing. Now you go outside and it's freezing. It's getting cooler. They return the AC off for some of the gyms we
Yeah.
So now you get a little sweat and you go outside and it's getting cool. So it's like, man, I can't win.
Yeah, I see what we got on.
Yeah, we ain't playing.
Like it's always, even I'm at the crib. So, man, but I'm physically tired too. For Hoop Mountain, this week is, usually we tell you guys about our camp when it's closer to December. But, they have these the school systems out here are different. They all work on their own schedule. So right now, for half the schools in Dubai, it's a midterm break. And so we have our midterm camp right now, which is the first time we're doing it. And it's a all basketball camp. In good numbers. It's hard to have basketball camps or camps, period, in the staycation capital of the world. And can you break down what a staycation is too? Because I don't think people. The first time I heard it was when I got to Dubai.
Well, no, I've heard it before.
Yeah,
I'm a little older.
Yeah, I'm a rook. I'm a rook.
You know what I'm saying? But it has a little more meaning here in Dubai, just because not only is it a destination where you can get off for 2 or 3 days and go to a plush hotel and kind of have any environment that you want, whether it's you want the beach, you want the mountains, you want skiing. I mean, it's crazy. Anything.
Yes, he said skiing.
Anything you want here in Dubai, you can get it. And, and so you think about just taking a couple of days off to relax, and then the kids have so many options to keep them occupied. It's hard to compete with that sometimes, And
that's what makes it tough too to build culture of competitiveness and hard working, because it's just like, why? Some of the kids is just like, why?
Right.
And it's a blessing to an extent just to be able to have that level of comfort.
Right.
Because we want that. But nothing, we all know nothing's ever that easy. We talked about handling bad last episode because eventually something is going to be tough, and it's not always going to be beach, mountains, kayaking.
But I will give our kids credit, though, the ones that have been coming. Even if the ones were a little apprehensive about coming at first to an all basketball camp, because normally we do a combination of sports. They love it.
Yeah.
They love it. And, we get on them every day and work them hard, but we have a lot of fun, and they all want to come back. So that means they're beginning to grow the passion for the game.
Yes, and for all of you guys that are listening, we have started with my young creator, my young, potentially a little John Singleton in him, the UK version though. We started to open up. We're taking our video platform and we're bringing it to HMD, and we've just started our vlog series called HMD All Access. My young guy, Bread Eater, It's his first production and everything, first thing he's ever shot and put together. But our parents and kids are responding well to that. And so, you guys hear us talk a lot about what we do at HMD, and it probably just sounds like a bunch of fluff and a bunch of air, right? But we're starting to show you some of those things so you can really see the difference in the kids. The parents can talk a little bit, and then you can see our daily motion. So thank you. And then for everybody, all BTG listeners, please go in and check it out so you can kind of see what a lot of that behind the scenes access is like, because it's dope, man. And then on top of that, this week, what was it? Last Thursday, I decided to try to get in the best shape possible, right? And this the funny thing, we got the guru over here. We'll get into the training stuff later, but I say, look, it's 30. I still got a little in the tank. I wanna just see how sharp I can be at 30. And to be honest, I need to grow as a trainer, right? And then Coach King is always sharpening his tools. And so one of the things that we do, and we'll videotape this and share this too, is get in the gym, right? But get in the gym as I'm just student, not, just working on how you would correct my game. So that's been kind of therapeutic and cool, but my body is dead because now I'm playing a little bit too.
Right.
And so I'm starting to play again. And it's the first time in like 2.5 years or so that I'm playing. And what I like about it is it's an era where don't nobody know me for anything, right? Like they don't know me for what I did in the States, college, high school, whatever, post school. And so it's a new space. And I'm only second game in. And so we all know your legs feel like sand when you first get out there under the whistle and people playing 5-on-5, you don't play enough. So I'm out there like, y'all just give me 2 weeks until I get right. But last night I went 7 for 20. But I shot the first game, I only shot 5 shots. Because I'm new to the team. I don't know nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting in.
I've never seen that before. I need to see that on video.
Yeah, you ain't going to see it again either. But I went like 7 for 20 and 1 for 7 from the three-point line. And that's the one thing to where, like, it's always defensively, because it's always about effort and being in shape, and then getting your legs under you to get your jump shot off, right? And so I'm hearing the guys talk like, your weak-ass jumper, your weak jumper, and I'm like, I hear you. I'm going to write names and collect tickets at the end of all this stuff, but it feels good to be playing again and to be training on top of that. Right. I couldn't walk when I came in the house. My wife never seen me like that.
Right. Yeah, that's when you truly starting to get in shape, when you start to get those cramps late at night.
Yeah, and so that's going to be an interesting journey, right? And so seeing how trainers teach and learn and get better at training is an interesting thing too, because I don't know if anybody I don't know how many trainers actually still get in the gym like that, or if they're old heads like some people that's like, I don't need to train that much. I don't know if they go in there and just work on somebody's game from scratch. Right?
Yeah, we everything that we see on YouTube or any other type of social media platform is always the finished product.
Yeah,
we don't need to see that. We need the kids to see what you're starting with from scratch, and then we need to see a progression over a certain amount of time, so we can show everybody that you don't have to be good to start playing basketball. Yeah, for sure. And so, like I said, Coach and I on our journey, it's like we call it King's Court, right? That'll be the time where I'm in school and he's, pushing me to be the player that he think I could be, just to be in shape. And that helps me become a better trainer too, because, first thing you got to do is admit that you don't know everything. Right. Say that again.
You got to admit you don't know everything.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Come on, man. I preach that to Illy all the time.
And you need to work on your patience.
That's for sure.
You don't have any patience with the kids, man.
That's not true.
You was rough on them cats today.
No, it's some new ones. That's why. It's some new ones. And it's some other ones like shout out to Colin and Isaac. I was really, really yelling at Harry. But did you see how Harry finished today?
Yeah, he finished strong.
But he didn't start off that way. Right. He had to get them together. That whole younger group was killing it. But,
wow,
man!
Yeah, that was a wild bunch.
We got to put this fist down, But we can get into some action today. The NBA is back.
Mm-hmm.
Opening night was Tuesday.
So you got your Lakers hat on. Did they win?
Of course not. But I'm in solidarity right now. Like I got the 824 all here. Shout out to Gigi and Kobe. But we lost on ring ceremony night, and all the headlines is about us.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah,
Showtime, baby. It's LA.
Let's just start to where I gotta. We can't. I'm never gonna walk back anything, but we gotta acknowledge the Warriors, new arena, putting the first banner up in there. That's 4 rings. Right, that's
In
that.
How many years? 9 years, maybe.
I know they've been to 6 finals, but it's probably something like that because only the Lakers and Bucks won in Toronto. Lakers and Bucks won, so it might be 9 years. 6 finals appearances, 4 wins. I mean, there's not much you can say. They've put themselves in that same space as kind of the Spurs did before, where they're their own dynasty now. They've done more than enough, right? Accolades. They've created a different era of basketball. Yeah. They've done so much that the league itself copies them, or tries to do those things. And they reloaded with young talent.
They are loaded. They are loaded, man.
My man sent me a text and was like, yo, listen to this. Listen to the wording. Yo, the Warriors top 12 is crazy. Top
12, yeah. That's crazy.
Top 12?
Yeah, they're loaded, man.
We talk about 12. I mean, high school, how deep would you go on your bench? Ideally. Like realistically, like in high school level, like realistically, if you're considered a great team at high school level, how deep do you go into the bench?
Probably 7.
Okay.
7, 8, yeah.
College, right? High major, mid major, whatever. You're the top team. How deep are you going to be? The bench.
The teams that make the deepest runs in the NCAA tournament typically go 8 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
8 to 9.
In the NBA.
7.
No,
7, yeah.
These folks got 12.
Yeah. They're back to where they were in 2015, where, you can turn on the game and they're down 15, Clay, Steph, Draymond, all sitting on the bench, and the second unit comes in and goes on a 12-2 run. You're like, what the hell? There ain't no coach in the world can prepare for that.
Man.
They prepare for that.
That's right there. They don't care about going over that luxury tax. They're going to make it happen. And
get money back.
It's worth it's worth it. Don't penny pinch, man. But, everybody's there's favors to repeat, rightfully so.
Yep.
Right? Won't argue that, But let's get into the Lakers because everybody loves to talk about it now. And it's a topic of discussion, right? And so we'll start with the ugly. Last night, I said I went 7 for 20 from the field, right? It's 1 for 7 from the trade ball. Bron and them went 10 for 40. 10 for 40. Bron shot 10 of them himself. I mean, he had 30-something and 12 boards. AD had 27 and like 6 boards.
6 boards.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And I think Russ had 19. And he might have had more boards than AD too.
Well, I thought Russ was out.
No, he played. You talking about the little hamstring thing?
Yeah.
And so he said something about, the rotation, him not be the type of player. I think he sent. I'm not sure. You remember what he said?
Yeah, he was just saying something that the amount of minutes that he's been playing, that he played last night, it's foreign to him, and so his body's in transition now, making the adjustment, and so that's part of the reason he's got the slight hamstring injury. And so that's just another excuse, man.
Hey man, it's gonna be a rough road forward, and so he still played 31 minutes in 19 and 11.
But that's what he doesn't understand. Like whether he starts or not, he's gonna play the bulk of the minutes, man. You can't keep a talent like him on the bench that long.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to play well.
Yeah, I mean,
consistently,
The thing is, right, everybody's going to say the same thing, is that the Lakers should have put more shooting around them, right? I think that's obvious in those things. But I keep asking people, so who will we put around them? And so, because I think that term shooter gets tossed around a lot in the league and in the game period, because people are good scorers. But when you talking about putting shooting around somebody, everybody's saying it like you can just go out there, reach into a pot and just grab. Like they're like, yo, why didn't you pick up more shooting? Who was there to pick up? Who was there to pick up? If you think about it right now, who you gonna go get? You can't go get Duncan Robinson. I mean, who else would I think is a dead-eye shooter? Like,
well, the thing is, you can go get somebody's shooter, but you got to pay him.
Yeah, but
they don't want to pay anybody.
But still, though, like even if you like, who is available though? Like who is available? Because they're saying that go get it. I know the Buddy Hield trade and the Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Buddy Hield is a good shooter, but he's been on teams where he can volume shoot as well.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
And so it's different when you can shoot 15, 20 times. It don't mean anything.
He's not, Buddy Hield by himself is not the answer that's going to get him over the hump. I'm talking about, this is what, year 3 now? With sort of like an experiment for the Lakers?
Well, no, because you remember when we won it, we had Kuz, we had a lot of those guys around. Right. So basically, as soon as we got Russ.
Right. But they let Kuz go.
Yeah, they let
over a few pennies.
We let all of them go. We only had to go down the list, right?
But list, you can't let those guys go and not replace them.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily need a dead-eye shooter. They just need a couple guys who can knock down some shots and defend.
Yeah. Role
players. And that's what they don't have.
So I'm of the mindset where it's critical because the whole league is too good right now. Like
especially the West.
Like it's almost 8 teams you think of before the Lakers.
Right.
And all those teams that were bad got better. Right. And all of them got better coaching, are going to come through not afraid of the Lakers. And so I'm looking at it as a Lakers fan, like everybody keeps talking about trading Russ. And, you know, it's a bad contract. So, yes. But I'm officially off the Anthony Davis train. Like, I think it won't happen. I think that Anthony Davis is what he is and is not going to be any better. When I look at last night, he had 6 rebounds. He had 6 rebounds, King. I mean, just talk about the era of basketball that we in right now and the skill that he has and how he has 6 rebounds.
Right.
And that happens often.
How many minutes did he play?
37?
Yeah, he can't have 6 rebounds.
36 minutes. And you talk about the NBA's pace right now. There were 100 field goal attempts from the Warriors. 100 field goal attempts, and they missed about 55 of those. And you only got 6 boards out of that as Anthony Davis? It shows me enough. I know everybody's talking about Russ and this, and, you know, because we got LeBron, it's all about finishing up strong.
We've said it before. Make no mistake. If AD plays the way AD can play, we wouldn't even be talking about the Russ situation.
I think we got to retire that statement.
Yeah.
Because, like, how much longer? We've been saying that for like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Even when we won in the bubble,
right?
Bron had to do a lot to carry us there. We had some big games from Caruso, Kuz, and all those guys. Like, he just had a couple flashes of moments. Like, I think it's done with that. And then we got statements like Chuck is saying that the Lakers have stolen the joy completely from Russell Westbrook in terms of playing basketball, right? And then on the flip side, you know, Skip and Uncle Shannon, they're saying, no, Russ has stolen the joy from the Lakers and LeBron and AD from playing basketball.
First of all, you said Chuck just signed a new deal, right?
Of course.
When he made this statement, what kind of coffee cup do you have in front of him?
They was outside. They had nothing. But
where did he just come from? Because definitely he had a couple drinks.
But he probably did. But what he was saying is that he's been the scapegoat for every issue for the Lakers. Every issue. And, you know, and right now, you got to think, the Undisputed took a clip of the entire season of every turnover and missed layup from Russ and then put, like, a clown noises underneath it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, everything. So it's just, even last night, everybody's talking about him 19 and 11, right? 19 and 11. And I'm looking at Bron went from the 3-point line 3 for 10. 10 of them things.
But here's the thing. Russ did clean up his play towards the end last year, but he did play historically bad in moments.
Yes.
We're talking about historically bad.
Yes.
And when he plays bad, he never owns up to it, just says, I play like shit tonight. I need to step it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. That's why people go at him so much, just because it's never his fault. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta say, you bring up LeBron shooting. Yeah, he go 3 for 10, but then the next night he might go 8 for 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The thing is, he flatlined the entire year from 3-point range.
Yeah.
And kept shooting them, and the thing is, like, it's one thing to shoot shots and miss them. But when you completely airball shots consistently or hit the side of the back, that looks bad, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I just, again, and then a lot of people are super critical last night about how they were playing. The offense still looked the same as last year. It's like, yo, how long is an NBA training camp, King?
Are they like 2 weeks?
2 weeks, right? And some people don't come into training camp early. Am I correct?
Most stuff are going to be there about the same.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it ain't like it used to be back in the day where cats might show up.
You got 2 weeks.
2-3 weeks, yeah.
With a new team.
Yeah.
And you talking about how we haven't seen all the changes yet. You talking about continuity. Last night they played a team that's been together damn near a decade for the most part. And then their core, right? And then their coaching staff and the organization, period. And so I do think we're a little overcritical because everybody's talking about, what's this and that. But I think we got some time 15 games in.
What was the final?
We lost by 15.
To lose by 15 on the road while the Warriors are getting their rings against the Warriors who's loaded with youth. That's not bad.
And you just miss shots, right? And I think, it takes some time for culture to change as well around there. I think we'll be fine. I'm 6 seed, 5th seed, that type of thing. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't see that the West has gotten better, gotten younger, and gotten more seasoned, and all of them dudes are smelling blood. So I know that's going to be interesting. But
for the Lakers, man, they just got to get in the playoffs.
I don't know if that's the case anymore.
No, I'm talking about for them to be dangerous.
Yeah.
They just got to get into the playoffs because, trust me, if they can get into the playoffs, then they can slow the game down and have a chance to win. But for them coming out and jacking up that many threes, that's not going to cut it.
But slowing the pace down, that only works if AD is a monster.
But that's what I'm saying.
So I don't think that shit happening. Like I'm done. I do want him to have an MVP type of year and all those other things. I'm hoping for it, but history has shown, right? And it's tough to keep doing that, especially as him getting older. Which even though he's maybe 28, 29, you still got to think about it because it's him, right? And so, but I think that people are being overly critical. We're going to be all right. I do think Russ will be traded soon.
Yeah.
But,
I don't even know why people are being this critical anyway, because the expectations on Lakers isn't that great right now.
Yeah, man, we're not winning the chip. Like, with that being said, the Celtics look bought in. They had the Maybach and they had the Ferrari out there looking good.
Right.
Both of them putting up 35 and their win against the Sixers. That big piece. You know what piece that is? Malcolm Brogdon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that changes the game for them.
For sure.
And it was really obvious last night because it's a different steadiness that he plays with.
Yeah. I don't even think he started either because I think they want to probably slowly transition him into a starter. And also you want to be respectful of Marcus Smart because he definitely held his own in times of need for them, And so I think they're going to be scary, man. Everybody talks about them not having their coach, but they were already good when Udoka got there.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they've been to the finals, they know what it takes to get there. They got a little more confidence. And everybody has a bigger purpose this year.
Mm.
Tatum wants to rebound from piss poor performance he had towards the end. Jaylen Brown wants to show everybody like, yo, take my name off the trade block.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Stop disrespecting me. And Malcolm Brogdon wants to show that He's the missing piece.
Yeah.
Williams is going to show that he's going to be healthy this year, and then Marcus Smart is going to show everybody that I think he's a really good team player, but it has to hurt just a little bit to know that you took him to the finals, and now they brought in a starting point guard. You know what I mean? And you were defensive player of the year last year, right?
And they've been talking about that for years, though, getting them a starting point guard. Like that's been the talk. But again, you just want to get better.
Yep.
And I think if you bring a guy in like Brogdon anyway, I don't see Marcus Smart getting upset.
Yeah.
It's some guys that it's just like, if it's him, class act, I know what he's about. He's proven. I know he's showing up, and I know we can still play alongside each other too. On top of that, it's not as much animosity as you might have somebody else coming in like Austin Rivers.
Yeah, well, Brogdon is not going to take away from Marcus Smart's shots either.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because he's more of a setup guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's going to be a good thing. So looking into this year. Man, I got some teams down here and some things for us to look at, to watch, and just want you to see. Tell me what you think. The Pelicans.
Man, these are all like outside of the Pelicans. These are just your favorite teams.
No, listen. I got a couple more things on there too. The Pelicans, Zion, B.I., Willie Green, C.J. McCollum, and the young guys that they got down there. And after they've already, because remember they had a nice playoff series going on without Zion, and that was in the middle of a trade year.
Right.
What we saying? Shout out to Willie Green for doing that.
Pelicans gonna be scary.
Man.
Nobody wants to see them in the first round of the playoffs. Nobody.
That's why I'm sitting here saying we just got to start thinking about the future in LA. For real. Like, for real. You talking about B.I. young. B.I. is still young. You talk about Trey Murphy. They got a lot of guys, Herb Jones. They got a lot of guys that are just young around Zion. And then you put CJ in there to where it's like his career might be prolonged a little bit playing with those big guys.
Definitely. All that length allows him to be more of a his normal position, which is a shooting guard. He's a smaller size shooting guard, so it definitely helps him a lot.
Man. That changes the game completely.
Right.
Like, he gets to last a whole lot longer. So that's something to watch for. The Pelicans, I think, are another little dark horse of things. I want to see how great, I know what everybody's already been saying. I'm not one that's been like crazy jumping on a Zion wagon with him being top 10 in the league. And all of them, they were getting crazy when Zion was playing, right? I want to see in the fire. Yeah. That's it. Because with everybody else, with Ja, you got to see. You got to see. I just want to see what it looks like for
I know,
but
you can't take away what he did do just due to injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Don't condemn the man yet. You know what I'm saying? But he balled out when he was healthy.
Yeah.
And so if you think about what the Pelicans have, he is that missing piece because he's that ultra competitive hustle guy.
Mm-hmm.
He can score. He can pass. You know what I'm saying? He brings them just a different element that they don't have because, McCollum is a scorer.
Yeah.
B.I. is a scorer. You know what I'm saying? So he fits right in with them. He does a little bit of everything that nobody else really specializes in.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's an athlete we haven't seen before.
He's dynamic. It's going to be showtime.
Yeah.
How do you think Ben Simmons is going to play this year? And how do you think that's going to, what's the best case scenario for the Brooklyn Nets?
Of course, best case scenario, them going to, Eastern Finals. And I think he'll play well because there's going to be a lot of pressure taken off him with, Kyrie and KD being there. But it's hard to say, man. He could come in and be an MVP candidate, seriously, because we know he can dominate on the defensive end. He can distribute the ball. He can rebound the ball. So he can do a little bit of everything except, really the consistent outside shooting. But with KD and Kyrie on opposite wings, he should be able to get to the rack whenever he wants.
I found, do you question the Nets as a whole? Do you question their competitiveness, their competitive nature? Or Ben Simmons and his competitive nature? Or Kyrie?
I don't, because one, we've seen Kyrie get after it, on the big stage. we know what KD can do. And Ben, how can I say it? Unfortunately, he was in Philly with Embiid, and they were both two youngins trying to figure it out together. Now with a little bit, even though Kyrie and KD are different types of leaders, they're not really like positive vocal guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could be just enough to give Ben what he needs in terms of, turning the corner. You know what I mean? So like it's a big question mark with him. It's 50-50. He can be really, really good, or he can be average,
That is one thing that I saw KD say, like, look, I'm not holding no grown man hand.
Right.
Like, he knows what he got to do. He'll be all right. Like, he been here and done that. And then we go to the next guy, Jay Harden in Philly. They ask, Chuck said, everybody in Philly ask, is he washed up? Is he done? Is it dead? Like, is there any more left for Harden? I think so. I don't want to count Harden out. Somebody sent me a thing, say, hey, Harden is looking like his old self. I think it can be really simple and easy for Harden because you got Embiid, and that's just if you want it to be. He did have 35 last night against the Celtics, 35, 8, and 7. And then Maxey had 21, Embiid 26, and Tobias Harris 18. But my dog said, yo, the Sixers stink. They're out of here the second round.
It's in order for Harden to really get a chance to kind of get close to, to what he was, it's not on Embiid. It's on Maxey and Harris. They have to be involved a little bit more because I don't care if he had 35 the other night. He can't be going for 35 every night. He's got to be around that 19 to 21 points per game and run the show. You know what I'm saying? Score, dish. You know what I'm saying? He's got to be a setup guy. Just think about it. If he transitions into the playmaker that we know he can be when he wants to and play just a little bit of defense, just a little bit, because them two young guys are going to take care of the rest. I mean, you're talking about him being the third or fourth, even fourth option some nights. They could be dangerous then.
I really don't. I think he got to do more than 21. I think he got to be 25 because I'm not putting. I'm thinking he got to average 25 because Tobias Harris. I think Maxey, yes. I think Maxey needs those more shots. I think Maxey should be around 23 points per game. But I think he has to be even more aggressive to be a better playmaker.
Harris does not have to average big numbers though for him to be real effective with them. We're talking about if he can get Harris involved,
like 18,
and he's averaging 17, 18, they're balling.
Yeah,
you think about that. That's 4 high double-digit scores, man.
You didn't pay Tobias Harris that much money.
Listen, this is no offense because you're supposed to take that bag when it's offered to you. There's a lot of people in the league making crazy generational money that don't do half of what Tobias Harris does.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
Hey, that's just would you tell me that's the market, coach?
Yeah, that's the era we're born in. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I don't think Philly is going to compete for a championship, though.
No. I don't think either. Yeah. Unless, like I said, unless those things happen. But it's going to be tough just because you got Boston, you got Milwaukee. I mean, yeah, it's going to be hard getting out of there.
And I'm not going to lie, Embiid is one of those polarizing, dominant figures that could change up everything because he just that. But the whole league is going to be focused on him. Right, like Patrick Beverly just said, look, we send the whole trash can at him. Like when you see, like Joker is his thing, but with Embiid is just different level of dominance. So they send the whole league at him. But I don't think Philly has enough around them. Right, I don't think.
Damn, I mean so. We just named that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think he gets it done though.
That's a lot compared to what some other people have.
For sure, the Lakers. Right, for sure, there's more than what we have, but you always comparing everything to the West, right?
Yeah,
and so I don't think that, given the history, I don't think Harden is going to show up in those moments for that. When it's mano a mano, right? He got to look on the other side. If it gets to the end where it's Philly versus the Nets, I got the Nets winning that. Just because I don't think he's going to outcompete Kyrie and KD. That's how it's going to go. I think that's going to be different.
But that's what I'm saying. If he's not supposed to have to match them every night, though.
But that's the thing. When your name James Harden, you talking about they try to make you remember the time, you always talk about people talking too soon. They talking about him being top 3. Sometimes they put him in the point guard conversation, but they talking about him being top 4 shooting guard ever and this and that.
There's always a lot of talk.
But when it's out there, you gotta match it up.
Hey man, how old is James Harden?
I don't know, man.
He got a lot of miles on those legs. In that game, that ISO game, you can't keep that up.
That thing hurts. All right, let's go. Clippers and Memphis right there. Clippers are the one team that we play them Thursday.
That
by the time this come out, I bet you we win. Bet you we win.
I might take that bet.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a betting man, so I can't do that. But I'm saying
how convenient. How convenient.
Yeah, go take that one.
The Clippers, man. People know how good Paul George can be. People know how good Kawhi can be in moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
People have forgotten how good John Wall can be.
I am rooting for anybody. I'm rooting for John Wall to be an All-Star this year. Right. I'm that type of performance. That's what I'm hoping he gets to, and is very, very capable of that. And so J Wall, do your thing. Don't do too much against the Lakers though. Take it easy over there. Oh my goodness, we just ain't tough enough, man. Let's get to Memphis. Man. Memphis right there. Because I think what I'm gonna say after this got to do with both of these teams as part of their character. But Memphis. This is Ja Morant coming for MVP. That's what I think this type of year is. Ja making that ascension, getting into the MVP conversation. Because if they're going to be top 4 in the West, that's going to be because he crossed every line there.
I think you're right on that. But the question is he deliberately going to go out and try to make a statement? Because I think if he just plays his game,
in general, yeah,
he could definitely be in the conversation for it. Because with what they have and what they've proven to do without him, I don't think he needs to go ham every night.
Yeah,
he's got to understand, and it's hard when you have that type of talent. You know what I mean? But you also got to understand, like, they played all right without me. So let me just come here. Let me just be who I am. I'm still going to do my thing, but. Let me tone it back a little bit, have some confidence in the rest of the guys. And I think they'll be...
See, I'm critical, right? I think, you know how it is, certain players give other players confidence. And so I think a lot of those guys, when you got 12 back there, if he's going to be out a couple of days, and we're not talking Tom Brady, and you got 12 out there, he going to come back, he just feel like, look, we just keep it kicking until we get the big dog back. It feels good because I am not a believer in Dylan Brooks.
Listen, but you say that, man. Listen. Cats go into war without their main dog. A lot of times they're like, we might as well just, cash this one in and wait for him to get back. And some people go the other way, so I'm not going to sit here and say that. I know Dylan Brooks had some moments where he was very inconsistent, but he's had some moments where he balled up.
But this is where I'm at with it. It's at that point now to where everybody expects Memphis to be good, right? You expect certain things. And typically right now, they talk about their top players, their top scorers. Dylan Brooks is in that space, right? I'm saying for Memphis to be a team that wants to compete for a championship, he can't be your second best guard. Dylan Brooks can't be your second best guard. Right? Like he's not one that you're going to be able to rely on night in, night out. When you talk about the league being a wing and shooting guard league now, to where everybody has something there, like Desmond Bane started to grow and become to, but he's still small too. But Dylan Brooks is the guy that they look to as 3-and-D and those things.
Yeah, but with Memphis's team though, it's not necessarily like he needs to. Ja's here,
yeah,
and then there's everybody else, and you don't need Ja to be here, Dylan Brooks to be here, and then you need Ja to be here, and you need Dylan Brooks. What's my man from Michigan State? Jackson's son.
Yeah, Jaren, but I was getting to him next.
You just need those guys to play consistent basketball, and the rest will take care of itself because they all blown up. They share the ball definitely a little bit more when Ja's out, of course.
Yeah.
But when Ja's in there, he makes them go. He does get everybody involved. He just needs those guys to be consistent.
But in the NBA now, especially, I look at consistency like a skill, right? Because that's what gets some guys paid. Just because the comparison to a lot of those other guys, they simply just don't show up. So when I look at that roster right here, right, just going to talk about the people that play: Steven Adams, Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks, Brandon Clark, who just signed for an extension. It's a big athletic guy with the braids from Gonzaga.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime they toss it down to him, he dunk and everything. Great rebounder. They got Danny Green, Jaren Jackson, Tyus Jones, who may be the best backup point guard in the league. Kenny Lofton Jr. and John Morant, and then Zaire Williams. Now I'm looking at this roster and knowing how they've had those struggles to get anything going. Because Jaren Jackson, I want to see more because he relies too much on the trade ball. Like it's not like he's on the block giving me butt here.
But
I don't see them consistently being able to win.
Since Ja's been there, though, he's picked up his defensive play. He's picked up his rebound a little bit, and he's starting to evolve his game somewhat. Remember, they're all still babies.
Yeah,
them dudes are all still young, with the exception of Danny Green and Steven Adams.
Let's look at time. Because how long can we continue to say if we in there for 5 years, 4 years? What's this? She had 3.
Come on, man. There's some cats that took. We sitting here talking about
4th season.
We sitting here talking about. Let's just go back to Golden State. Steph Curry was putting up numbers when he got to Golden State with Mark Jackson there playing beside Monte Ellis and things like that, but it took them dudes a while to really come into their own. If you're a top talent, yeah, you're going to get numbers because that's what you do. But we talking about these dudes at Memphis.
Yeah.
Even Ja, we talk about how he was under recruited and things like that. These guys are really all unknowns.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But still, I just
say you don't like him.
No,
say that, man.
Dylan Brooks. No, just watching the way he plays. And the eye test is everybody talks about analysts doing this and that, but just watching the way he plays and how he gets it done, he can't be your second best scorer on the wing. Like you can't have that.
But he's not. But he's never going to be the second best guy every night. Like this type of team is built where it's going to be a different guy as the second guy every night. That's how they survive.
But that's not how you're going to win a chip. That's what I'm saying. Like against when you talk about the top teams that you're going to face in the West alone.
That's not true because Golden State won, and Steph had moments where he wasn't the top dude.
But who did Steph have with him? He had Clay, and then he also had KD. Right? I'm saying you got everywhere you go in the West, right? You got Kawhi, you got Paul, and now you got John Wall. Well, even if you didn't have John Wall, you had Kawhi, you got Paul, and then in between it, you could splash Reggie Jackson, right? I'm saying if Ja had a PG, like Kawhi has a PG, and then Dylan Brooks is like Reggie Jackson, then you look at it as like, oh, okay, that's a lot more lethal. Right, but when we talking about just him, Ja, and having to give everybody there, because you got to give more production offensively to win.
You're talking about championship aspirations. They don't have championship aspirations. Ja might, individually they might, but as a team, as an organization, they know they're not winning a chip.
Ja, hey, look, I'm listening to 12. 12 said he coming for one.
Shut up.
He coming for one.
He's supposed to say that, but everybody knows. Memphis, a great year for them is having a winning season, of course, a winning record, of course, and getting to second round of playoffs. That's shit.
But I want to see Ja get one though. Like that's one that I'm gonna be watching, hoping that he gets one the rest of his career, because that's gonna be like AI not getting his, but in his next generation, he carrying that torch for him, at least for me, because he's another little guy carrying an organization like Isaiah Thomas did, and so. But that brings me to a point to where basketball, when you get older, it shows you different things about men, like being amongst men and playing. Like you watched me play in those games the other day, right? Locally here. What were some of your observations about just the way things go?
The overall atmosphere?
Yeah.
Chaotic.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch multiple games, by the way, because there was a game on the other side. I went back and forth a couple times early. And it's hard to watch when a bunch of grown men are playing basketball and they're carrying their emotions like children. The officials, one official is intimidated, one official doesn't care. The scores table is misinformed on everything and afraid to say certain things to certain people. And it's just chaotic. I actually thought I've been in more street ball games, street ball tournaments, and seen more professionalism than I saw the other night. And that bothers me a lot because being that we're in Dubai, there's a lot of stuff that was said last night that people wouldn't say in other places around the world. This is a place where, your physical actions may have serious consequences where you get up out of here. But, these same guys, I'm like, you wouldn't dare say that to anybody out loud somewhere else. You'd be quiet as a church mouse. And so so this kind of stuff bothers me just because, one, you're not playing the game the right way. Two, you're not that good to be popping off that much. And then three, you're not that tough to be popping off that much. And then just four, it's that as adults, everybody's supposed to be competitive and playing hard, but it's supposed to be a camaraderie where I got to go to work tomorrow. I know you got to go to work tomorrow. And we take it like that, you know what I mean? And these guys were, a little too emotional about it. And it's just, that bothered me a lot.
It's the one thing that's interesting about, when you get in a room full of men, if you're weak, that gets exposed, right? Being timid and just standing in front, like amongst men, if you just don't stand up for yourself, like nobody coming to help you with anything, no matter what it is that you think you might have talent-wise or whatever that way. And what also happens is those of us who are considered alpha males, we can take up the space. We can take up a control of everything, even though within a basketball team, a winning team, it can't be that way, right? You got your alpha guys that you follow behind, but everybody got some type of feeling of being noticed, recognized, a part of the team, to where we're all locked in, right? But also, you as a man, you should make sure that your damn self, right? Like I get to the point where you say you just gotta go out there and hoop, but sometimes you get to the point to where you're like, you can't just let people walk over you like that, big dog. Like you know what I'm saying? And we see that around here often, depending on what cultures they're from or wherever they're in. But if you're gonna be within the basketball culture, everybody does it their own way. But you got to be able to stick up for yourself, right? And so, because there's going to be a Draymond type of barker out there. It's going to be it's always going to be some type of energy, and a lot of times you hear stories about people poking the bed just to see how they gonna respond, so I can know if you're gonna go to war with me. I'm like, how do I know what type of soldiers out here if I don't see if you bite back,
right?
That leads me into how we started and how we've kind of got our identity or maybe our grit, and that's from playing basketball outside.
Yep.
And so KD said something interesting in one of his interviews on his Etc's podcast, and he was like, yo, I'm looking at this French cat, talking about the Victor dude, and I'm like, yo, where were you playing at to be that fluent now? He said, because I grew up playing outside, everybody on the court, everybody playing street ball, everybody going up and down, just dribbling all day. Like, I get it, but where the hell are you doing that in France? Where they find you at? And that made me think about, I finally watched the N1 mixtape.
Right.
It's called The Untold Stories or something like that, which was dope, which was really, really dope. And it just gave me crazy flashbacks to what that era was like. Because I remember, they played one of the N1 games on one of the mixtapes was played at the Garden in TC.
Okay.
Yeah, and when they came to DC, I was one of the kids that had played on that outside thing, trying to get inside in the spot. Like I remember that entire era. Like it was crazy. But before we get into the street ball aspect, let's talk about because and one, some of those players are from they're like your peers.
Yeah. It's a funny story, and it's like, some of the original guys, they don't know me, of course. But, if we were to get together and they see me or whatever, they might be, oh, I remember you. But, I remember playing, when all the guys used to work out when you'd be home in the summer in Atlanta, run and shoot, 24-hour gym. And, we get a chance to play with some of those guys or some guys wouldn't get a chance to play because what people don't know is some of that street ball stuff doesn't carry over. Some of those guys were real college players that could hoop and some were not, but they were, real good with the tricks or whatnot. And I just remember working out one day with my guy and young brother came up and was like, yo, we're going to start this new concept about street ball. And, we like to have you guys come in for a workout and, see what's up. You know what I'm saying? Because my guy was like a bully in the paint. You know what I'm saying? When he's dunking, he's biting the rim. He's, rims, the backboard shaking for 4 or 5 minutes. Myself, I was just a shooter, slash to the basket, dunk a few and things like that. So he's like, yo, we need some guys who got a little flair but can play. You know what I mean? And so, we were like, because it was a new concept, we were like, nah, don't know much about it, whatever. We about to go play or whatever. But one of the main guys, Hot Sauce, used to always be around with us. And, he was a guy that wasn't much of a typical basketball player, but he could catch you out there on an island and, and wobble those ankles a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And so, as you can see from history, he caught on and he took off, what I'm saying? He made the most of it, you know what I mean? And, it's just interesting to see the growth of that idea into what it became. I mean, it became known worldwide. It was a worldwide phenomenon, actually. And, you think about guys like 50. I played in the IBA with him. They called him 50 because they said he had a 50-inch vertical, you know what I'm saying?
Main event. And
well, those were main event, Wally Dixon, those guys could really, really go. And that, and one for them was more like an alternative to being in the league and not having to go overseas, you know what I mean? And so it was perfect for them. But truthfully, those guys are, those guys had aspirations of going, to the league, whatever. But, the league, you have a small window to get in, if any. And hell, they made the most of their careers for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mark Jackson's brother,
Escalade.
Escalade.
Rest in peace.
I had the pleasure of meeting him once, playing with Athletes in Action. Funny dude, great dude. My boy Turk and Mott played with them.
Turk played with them?
Mr. T.
For real?
Mr. T, you got to look it up.
Oh, yeah, we got to get that.
Got to look it up.
Yeah, for sure. Turk be on the... Turk on Instagram doing his thing. I don't know if Turk like on the Dr. CB retreat or he out there climbing the mountains and everything else. He always been like that. A wild, adventurous guy.
Yeah.
You like that too, though, the wildlife. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All y'all Steve Irwin shit.
Come on, man. I'm more reserved. Turk is, he's always been he's an inquisitive guy. He's always seeking more knowledge and stuff, And so I take my hat off to him because he's always trying new stuff. So, but no, man, that and one stuff, just watching that stuff and, seeing the big crowds and seeing, the attention they got, how they brought And One sneakers to the forefront along with Vince Carter. I mean, it's incredible, man.
And they had the beauty of it. I think on the vlog, actually, I talked about us building our brand from the ground up. And I mentioned Nike because of the story. But really, And One really fits us because And One was, talking about the shoe, they have maybe 4 or 5 people working on designing their shoe.
Right.
And then the one guy who's a part owner designing it and spending hours on it versus Nike, who's going to have an entire division of thousands of people
Right.
in research and development. It takes 2-3 years before a shoe come out. It's just 4 or 5 guys back there trying to get it right. After I didn't know they had Marbury in their shoe first.
Mm-hmm.
And then he broke his ankle. And then, they had to go back to the drawing board and start over. And that's where they came into the idea of the street ball action.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you could do that, right? Let's take it back. And before And1 becomes And1, they have to go to the bottom, right? They have to go and find that lightning in the bottle that's been brewing for years. Right, we've had OG Coach Jones come on here before, and he mentioned it. People probably took it lightly about how Earl of Pearl, Elgin Baylor, Moses Lone will be playing outside, and people would travel when they hear about it and go and fill the parks up. But with street ball and what that did for basketball, and not just the street ball y'all saw on And1, because like half amazing. A lot of those older guys said on there is that when they came and found me, I was 10 years deep in my reputation and my resume. High sauce professional. Those guys are polarizing now for what they did, but my name rings bells. I was headache before I got here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was 10 years deep in a street ball game and playing outside, and how that's a whole different element of basketball in itself. Like, you paint that picture.
Man, just think about this. For you to be able to go down the neighborhood and see somebody play outside that just played at Madison Square Garden 2 months ago, that as a kid, that's going to blow your mind. You know what I mean? So, what I'm saying? That's what street ball was back in the day when the guys were out of the NBA season or whatever, or back from Europe. Guys would get together and play outside because that was the only course they had, and go hard at each other. You know what I mean? And, of course, you're not having your coaches, your typical coaches with you. You get a little more freedom because the game was a little more restrictive back then. But on the blacktop, you could show what you really got and put on a show for the fans. And to see all of that in person had to be a joy for everybody. And, because it's like, it's not legend anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can reach out and touch these players and see them get a chance to get above the rim and block somebody's shot, or, come down with it and get up the floor. And, those guys, and to we talk about the And1 shoe, those guys are out there playing in Chuck Taylors at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's new support.
Yeah.
And so.
And no fiberglass backboards and no special foam and stuff on the courts.
Backboards weren't even square either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, and a lot of times, especially in the inner city, and even in the country sometimes, the blacktops would be fenced in.
Yeah.
So, you got people hanging on the fence and things like that. So once you get in, you kind of confined space, and you don't know who's out there betting on the games and things like that. And, you going up to the rim to put one down, you get hit in the air.
Yeah.
That landing's a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Might air out the whole block in there.
You know what I'm saying? For sure.
And that created a different era of basketball players. Right. We talk about the lack of creativity that's here now, the reactions, right? The instincts, the basketball IQ, the instincts that come with just being outside and just playing. We don't have that anymore because they don't
play.
They don't play. And can there be a resurgence of that? Because you said overseas there is.
Yeah, I mean, we're the leaders of basketball in the U.S. And I think that's clear. Mm-hmm. Even though, the international basketball has definitely been gaining ground for sure. But as a whole, we are the leaders in basketball. But as we began to build the game, how can we say it? Like the generations to come, they have it a little bit better. So these guys now
entitled,
a little entitled, man.
Yeah.
You're not catching. I'll give you an example. Outside of LeBron's son, working out at home, which they're in the outdoor, they're in the parking lot, in the carport.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I thought he had an indoor gym, so I love that. But he's not playing in the league outside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so, because he's going to be worth millions. But what about those guys who are going to be top college athletes, but not going to make millions? Mm-hmm. Where are they going to play? What if you can't get into your local high school or local YMCA or rec center or whatever? Where do you go hoop?
Yeah.
So you got to get out and play, man, because like you talked about those instincts of, growing your game in terms of, I made that mistake last Saturday. We got bounced. And once we lost at 11, we couldn't get back on the court till 3. You know what I'm saying? So let me make sure I force this dude left. You know what I'm saying? I make sure I take care of the ball a little bit more myself so we can stay on the court. And those are lessons that aren't being learned now, because with that entitlement, you get this. We just lost. It's okay, because the court's ours for the next 2 hours, so we right back on. So you're not learning anything from that.
And that's where I learned how to play a role. Right? Like, you think about, it was easy for me to mesh in with that 08 team in high school, and then for me to graduate into that space to where I was the guy. And in college was the same way. So it was easy for me to play a role. And then when it was time for me to be the guy, I was there, because I wasn't allowed to play yet outside. Right? Because outside the court, I'm like 9, 10, 11. I'm watching everybody play every day. And across the street from where I live, that court was one of the active ones in the area. And so I'm watching everything. Guys come from Maryland, D.C., Virginia, coming to play on Duke. And I always wanted to play.
Right.
Got 12, and I started to grow a little bit. And I was like, yo, y'all going to let me play. Right? But you're not just getting out there and just doing anything.
No, sir.
Because you are playing with grown men.
Right.
Right now we have parents or kids say, hey, what's the age of the kids that are playing today? It don't matter if you want to play.
Right.
I just wanted to play the game. And so I realized they 16, 17, a couple of those guys, maybe 24, 25, but they looking at me because I'm like 6'1" and 12, right? I'm here. So they like, you going to play, you're going to have to figure out how to do something.
Right.
I'm not crossing anybody up, getting out there. And so how do you find a way onto the court?
Right.
Because that was the first accomplishment.
Right, getting on the court.
Getting on the court. Right. If you're a young buck and they say, yeah, come on,
right,
that means you got they give you a nickname too. You got your respect right there. Right. But you had to go through the ranks.
Yeah.
So that's where it was like, all right, I know where I can shoot from on the court. I know I got to be going after every loose ball, trying to play defense. And then seeing them say, all right, I know Young going to hoop. He going to play hard. Now you can get on the court. And then after that, once you get on the court, then you start working on your game.
Yep. To stay on the court.
Just to stay on the court.
Yep.
Right. And then you go from that joint to where it's like, all right, now when you come to the courts, it's like, yo, Yates, you with me.
For sure. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
You get that, you've arrived.
Those are little things that you got to learn, that your environment really puts you through. That's the thing about street ball that we kind of miss, right? It humbles you, for one, but then it also teaches you how to be patient, as you said, and then go up through those things. And so now that I think about it, playing outside, hooping outside, where there ain't no age limits, and you 18 here, you 21 here, just roll out a ball, whoever can play, teaches you how to play a role.
Right. And no set plays, no coaches that know you. You just got to go out there and figure it out yourself and be able to play with other people.
Yeah.
And, playing outside in inclement weather, uneven blacktop, no double or triple rim, no net sometimes.
One rim might be higher than the other. So
being able to play in a rough environment prepares you to go in the gym and really go ham in there.
What I'm talking about, we got our young buck, young Duke, right? Duke, whenever somebody's saying something on the sideline, he talking back to him, right? And I'm like, yo, you can't tell, you just can't say anything.
Right.
Like, it's just not how. But I remember those moments to where I was his age and I'm hearing people talk and I'm not understanding the difference between talking trash and people attacking you. So emotionally, I feel the way. But I learned in that space how to channel that.
Yep.
Right? I talk now, and nothing ever personal, right? After the game, I'm all good, but I also understood, like, this is a challenge. Somebody trying to see whether or not they can knock you off your pivot and get you off your game, or if they want to see if you're going to accept that challenge and you're going to rise to that occasion. And when you outside, like when they're talking about outside, when you've been there 2 or 3 hours and your hand black, you know why your hand black if you really been outside.
Yeah,
right?
and all your clothes are black because you've been wiping them on your wipe your hands on your shorts.
Your mom tell you got to take your clothes out before you come in the house because you smell like outside.
Right.
Like, but everybody there from the sun up, the sun down, when the lights pop off, and now the court getting smaller, everybody listening and yelling at you like, who gonna get game one?
Yeah.
And I realized we didn't do as much one-on-one as it does now, even when we played in those games outside.
Yeah.
Like, if you had a mismatch, everybody will let you go get yours back. You know what I'm saying? There's a little back and forth going. But when I sit and think about it, it wasn't as much, go this. We were moving the ball too.
Right.
We were moving the ball. We were, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody still, you get a lot of love for a flashy pass.
Right, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? You get a lot of love for that. And so we were playing pretty good basketball when I look back at that.
And you get the most love for winning.
Man.
Winning.
What? Counting your wins at the end of the night?
I got 7.
7?
Yeah.
Yo, like, I got 7. You might see the old heads over there cracking a brew after the 7. You know what I'm saying? Talking trash. Like,
right.
And we might be finished by 7:30.
Right.
And so when I got to the age, I realized I'm done by 7:30. I still got time to shower and hit the streets.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So for all of you saying that I'm too busy here, I'm too busy there, you just don't really want it. That's basically what it is.
Right.
Like, you just don't really want it because I was out there. Matter of fact, in my past life, I remember being on a court and some girls driving past the court yelling, like, yo, we going out tonight. What you doing? And it's like, nah, we got to get some games in first. Like, it's always enough time if you really want it.
Always.
Man.
Always.
So man, I know that brought back some memory. Go ahead and drop back what you're thinking, man.
No, sir. No, sir.
And so we want to see that come back somehow, some way. I don't know how, but that'll be a good essence. But to close out the pod today, it's a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is still our post-game wrap-up, but in a different format, right?
Okay.
Something that, as of late, Coach and I, we started working, as we mentioned, we started working out, right? To where I'm doing training, just showing the progression. Part of it, not just for me to get in good shape, for me to feel good, but to show our hoop stars what a grind looks like.
Right.
Right? To what it looks like to be a basketball. Because right now, they don't have anybody to look to at all.
That they can, someone that they can look to right now, they can actually access, call,
yes,
touch, you know what I'm saying, and be around consistently. That's what they were missing.
Yeah, because we always had somebody from around somewhere to see. And so, it's important now for me to get better at basketball, even at my age, because I've met some people that say, I'm 30, I can't get better at basketball. It's not true, right? And so we're working. And so that just had me think because, I've known Coach since I was 15, right? And so we were working out and it made me have a flashback. It's like, damn, we haven't done a workout like this to where I'm student, your teacher, since 2013, 14. Like, we might have been in the gym and had a couple other guys in there and I come and put some shots up and then maybe we do some 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s and stuff like that. But nothing to where it was like fine-tuning my game and all those things because you went from TC to coaching pro, and then I was in college and, everything goes all over the place. But I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, man, what if, right? Sometimes people say you don't want to look into your past, but as coaches and as mentors, your past is your toolbox for you to teach people, right? And so I'm thinking about just basketball. I'll do one basketball, one personal. We'll both do basketball first. What would I rewrite about my past that could help me going forward? And the one thing I always look back to is realizing that people peak in high school sometimes. People peak in high school. Sometimes people peak in college. But if you understand your pace and where you are, if you just prioritize what's best for you, you'll be fine because everybody's thing is different. So for me, I remember vividly going from sophomore to junior year. There's a lot of chaos in that summer, and we know how AAU and everything is back in the summer. And so I remember thinking to myself, man, if going into my junior year after we had won states, I was a starter and everything, if I hadn't played AAU, if I would have just stayed, and there's certain rules, but if we would have worked around the rules, if I would have just stayed home for 2 months and just worked on my game and body for that summer right there, man, who knows what would have happened? Because I think what we get is oversaturation with our ball players right now playing in meaningless basketball games. Right? And we're talking about like all those leagues and stuff are good, but some of those things are meaningless games.
Right.
You just playing a number of games, 150 or whatever, trying to get them all in, but you're just reiterating the same bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I did get better in increments, but what I needed the most was focus. Right? Focus on certain things with the right person there, right? But me and Mom going through this journey for the first time, right? We don't know basketball. We don't know the limits of how far basketball can take us. Where we went already was enough.
Right.
Right?
Sure.
And so looking back at that, I think that would have helped because you can't control what happens in life, like whether you get sick or whatever else. But if you give yourself certain things, and that's the one thing I wish I would have done is I would have put more focus in my off season and just getting better and building a better body and just working out with you for that one. And then coming back after my junior year for that summer and then killing it. Because we sometimes we oversaturate what we're doing in the AAU circuit and stuff.
Yeah. AAU is good if you're going to play in the right games.
Yeah.
That's the thing because it's always good to play against different types of competition and different styles of basketball.
And actually play.
It has gotten to a point now where guys just every weekend is a tournament. Where's this tournament? Who are you playing? And it's a bunch of guys that are doing what you're doing, just traveling from place to place, just jumping in there.
Yeah.
So it's not strategic. And a lot of times it is a waste of money, waste of your time. And, it's another strain on your emotions.
Yeah.
And, if we play enough to get the exposure, but we're working on our game and our body and our mind all the time, you're gonna get what you're supposed to get.
Man.
You know what I mean? And so I think you're right about that. That would have helped you tremendously, and that would have changed your trajectory of your career path because the only thing holding you back at that particular time was your body.
Yeah.
Because you hadn't peaked yet in terms of your physical performance level of your body because you were still you were tall, but you were wiry thin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You just needed to get a little stronger, more athletic.
And that's the main thing, like knowing it now, right? And I still feel like I can get better at basketball, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But knowing it now, and this is a message, because with that being said, I still went to college and played basketball. I still played it at a very, very good level, and I still was very, very effective. And I still had opportunities after college to play professional, right? And so what that just reminded me of is the focus too much sometimes is on the destination and not the work. Because if you work, they will find you.
Yep.
Right? That's the one thing is like they definitely will find you.
Right.
You just got to prioritize the work. None of the other noise, none of the other build my brand stuff. Just work, right? You just put in the work, they'll always find you. That's with everything. You want to be a creator, you want to be a videographer, you want to do video games, you want to do anything. If you just put in the work, they'll always find you.
That's correct.
Yeah, because that's what's happening to us.
Yep.
Things are finding us, and all we've been doing is working.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And so what's something you would rewrite from your basketball past?
Probably my approach to the game in high school.
Yeah, look, that's where it all starts, right?
A lot of people don't know that because, I was fortunate enough to go to college and play on scholarship, but people don't know I only played 2 full years of high school basketball. Why? I was basically an idiot in terms of like following the rules and picking up good study habits and doing what I needed to do in terms of going forward. I would always try to do just enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I had something that was due on a Friday at 1 p.m., I get it done Friday morning. I got time. I live too much by the skin of my teeth. And It caught up with me a couple times. And, that was selfish because on 2 separate occasions, not only did I hurt myself, I hurt my team.
Yeah.
Because I was an integral part of our high school team. And so even though they would go on without me to go to the state playoffs and things like that, if I had been there and I was a starter, tell her what we could have done, and that would have helped my career individually as well. And so that still is one thing that bothers me, just because, you just never know, and being with you guys in 2008 and getting a chance to be on staff and be a part of that state championship ride, that was something that was dear to me because I always wanted to have one of my own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's definitely probably the first thing that comes to mind when I think about my basketball career.
And so with that being said, right, we still turned out to be pretty solid. And I talk with Illy about this all the time, is as athletes, we have a different luxury because we understand the concept of if I'm not working, somebody else is, right? And so it still keeps us pushing. So if I don't get to my goal, I still fall somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, somebody who may not have athletics as a beam of support for them, and they're just trying to skate by the skin of their teeth, or they're just gradually going through life, just growing with the wind, that's a much different battle, right? Because you didn't do what you needed to do, but you still were a hooper. And people, no matter what, people are always looking for value.
Yeah.
Looking for value from you. And so whatever it is, I'm a basketball player, there is some value for me that you may need at your place. And so you give me another chance.
Right.
Now, for those of you who don't have athletics, or you don't have a talent that people can't visually see, or something that you haven't worked on the most, if you just go through the wind, if you're just going through the motions and just getting through it, that may be something that sets you up for failure for life. Like that's that story of somebody working in the fast food restaurant and still, looking back at it like, damn, like I could have, but you didn't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what do you think was missing during that time? Because you're talking about us, we're 17, 16, 15. And so, like, what do you look for now in an environment when you're trying to help somebody and you're like, yo, this is what you don't have around you, and this is what you need?
Yeah. Well, first, it's, who are you surrounding yourself with? No matter what your passion is and no matter what you're trying to do, are you surrounding yourself with like-minded people? And when I mean like-minded, they don't have to have the same passion and hobbies that you have, but they have to be people that are driven.
Yeah.
People that are supportive. You know what I mean? If somebody is always pushing you, they're supposed to be your friend. They're telling you, hey man, you got to go in there and get 500 shots up today.
Yeah.
That's somebody that's driven in life, and they're trying to push you in the right direction. If it's somebody saying, we can get that tomorrow, don't worry about it. That's somebody that, not to say they don't care about you, they just don't know the grind that you have to, embark on each day. And so that's somebody that is in your corner, but deliberately could be hurting you. I mean, indeliberately could be hurting you just because they don't know.
And they might not. Some people just like the idea of things.
Yeah.
They like the idea, and they like saying, yeah, I want that, until you look at the path that it takes to get there, right? Like, you talk about it all the time. I always have really, really big ideas and stuff.
You ain't lying.
And so
expensive ideas.
Right. But when I talk about it, let's say we're all in a room, I can talk about it and put it down so visibly that we all get so energetic about it, right? But you know that I'm going to put in the work to make that happen when we're not around each other. But what happens is, if somebody that, when you're with me, when we're in the gym together, you're solid. But when I'm not with you, I'm still going to the gym. I got to be sure that you're still going to the gym too. Right. Some people only feed off that energy when they're around.
Right.
But when they're not around, they're not really driven upon themselves. And that's the difference between that 1% and that 99, right?
Let's get this straight. You have a lot of big ideas that are expensive.
Yeah.
I don't get excited about nothing. Until that check clears, I don't get excited about it. I learned my lesson. That's just me.
For sure. Don't count the money until it's in your hands.
And did I make up a word earlier? Indeliberate.
we lived in the Kanye era. That's fine.
Okay, yeah, right. You're right. I might be good. I
No,
might
you
be good.
for sure good. They might add that to the Merriam-Webster. Knowing the Brits too, we can say whatever we want, man. That's for sure. But that's a major thing right there. Is that some people, when you're around the energy source, you're all about working that hard. But when you're by yourself and then things start drifting in and everything, it's tough.
Yep.
But that's why you need accountability partners.
Right.
That's why you need an OG, somebody to look to and remind you, because fire quote from Jim Jones. Yeah, I know. Dipset. But this is what he said, right?
Okay.
And I was like, wow, that was profound.
Okay.
He said, when motivation runs out, but discipline keeps you through when motivation isn't there. And that's what it is. Because motivation is still a fleeting feeling, right? Some days you feel motivated. Some days you don't.
Right.
But the discipline, that's consistent.
Right.
That's the action, right? And so for the days you don't feel motivated, your discipline going to get you through.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, Jim. Yeah. And so,
I got to see it.
Yeah. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it later because I used it on TikTok for us. Matter of fact, I might have it right here. Let's see what we got. Let's see, this is a special one. This wasn't planned. Matter of fact, make sure you guys follow us on TikTok. We're trying to get it up. Oh, and on Instagram, we're at 700. We went up. We went up 65 followers this week. So let's go viral. But look, check this out.
When you can't stay motivated, stay consistent. All right? Consistency gonna bring back your motivation. No matter what it is. You heard? Basketball players, rappers, sanitation people, whatever it is, you dig?
Come on.
Okay.
Come on. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, man. Shit then got serious. And so for the last thing, personally, right? Because we always say that who we are as basketball guys is just a speck, a drop of who we are as a whole. What were some things that if you could rewrite, or you can just put a major emphasis on this, maybe it's one thing, maybe it's two, maybe it's health, maybe it's relationships, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Probably the thing that comes to mind first is my last encounter with my grandfather.
Oh wow!
So my mother and father, moved around a lot. My father was in the Air Force. They got divorced when I was maybe in middle school, and so when we moved around a lot, I never really got a chance to be around my grandparents. And so once they divorced, I was old enough to like really know who he was. I got a chance to be around my grandfather. And now he's old school, down south, born in like 1918 type shit. And he knew one way, his way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we did butt heads a lot. And there were a lot of things that, I get upset about in terms of the way he might conduct his household and things like that when I was there, or how he want kids to act around him. And I just didn't understand those things. And so we would bump heads, whatever. And then as I got older, we got further and further apart, if you know what I mean. And, you get older, you start feeling yourself a little bit, and you get, you're becoming a young man. And so physically, you're hard to handle there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can get away with saying a few things, and he and I had a real nasty argument one time. And I was actually heading out. I think I was going to Europe or something like that to go play. And when I got a chance to see him again, he had already passed. So, he had gotten sick while I was away, and it was something really sudden. And so I didn't get a chance to see him again alive, and to say, my bad, I'm sorry, and just, make amends, you know what I mean? And so the reason why it really, really bothers me is not just because of that, because I disrespected him, I also disrespected my mother.
Right.
Because my mother had a tough upbringing, and part of that tough upbringing was in terms of dealing with him. Because when my mom was 18, she was like, I'm out. And so, but the one thing she always taught me was like, you got to be able to forgive and forget. And so, I'm at the funeral, and my mom was reading a eulogy.
Mm.
And it was all about the good things that my grandfather did.
Mm.
And, and why he did certain things, and I just sat there. I remember thinking, like, if my mom could forgive him for a childhood that was rough and rocky,
Yeah.
why couldn't I forgive him for a few instances
Mm-hmm.
that were rough and rocky? And so I just said, like, if I had a chance to do that all over, I would never leave knowing that I'm going across the ocean or something like that and not have a better ending to our conversation. You know what I mean?
How does that, like, not going too deep? I know that carries into how you handle relationships and stuff now.
Yeah.
Right? To where you try to make sure you don't leave any stones unturned, or, you cherish those opportunities to go out and lock in with people.
Yeah. That has made me a better person, that everybody I've encountered that has been like a mentor to me, or big brother, big sister, family figure, as they're getting older, I stay in touch with them all the time, just because, one, to check on them, because I do care, but two, to let them know that they're not forgotten. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's very important, because I'm going to be in that situation in a few years, where I'm going to be saying, I can no longer do what I'm doing, and have what I've done over the years, have I made an impact? And you'll know if you've made an impact on people and they've become good people if you're still in touch with them at some point.
Yeah.
And not to say that you're not a good person because you don't keep in touch sometimes, but maybe sometimes you get so busy with your own life, you forget about those who helped you get to that point.
Yeah.
And I try to make a point of never forgetting that.
Yeah. Man, that's a huge life lesson there. One of the things that I've learned and I've looked back on is I have deep rooted trust issues, right? And I think it's hindered some potential or some opportunities to develop good friendships or keep good friendships, because people do mess up, and like you said, forgiving and forgetting. But I get really close, and I get trusting when I finally find people that I'm like, all right, this is my family. Because not having pops around, just me and my mom doing a lot on our own before my brother was born, and just me and her figuring out life together, and not even understanding the concepts of father and everything else, but knowing that I looked at my mom, she did everything she could and all that stuff, and our relationship was unbreakable no matter what. Mom's was hard, right? Mom couldn't be soft mom, nurturing mom that most could be. She had to make sure we were tough. And so that developed is I didn't like to see people walking in and out, right? Or doing flawed things and lying about it, because my mom always talked about that. It's like, look, you're going to mess up, but do not lie to me. Like, do not lie to me, and do not say or promise something that you can't keep, right? And even Aunt Lisa says that to me. She's like, look, if you say these 3 words, if you say this to me, you got to follow through with it. And just being around people to where sometimes we expect too much from people, right? And without giving them the idea that, like, you're not Superman. So if you mess up and slip up, no matter what I think about you in my head, is that, like, that's just human nature. That's just remind us that we're all in the same place. But it don't have to be the end all, the be all to the relationship that ends everything. And I've had those moments to where I've had people that I would consider like brothers, and some people that I've had really close, and certain things happen, and I just could never go back to that. And there's just spaces to where, all of our moms were calling us son, like it was that deeper thing. But if certain things happened for me, it was just like, that's the end of it, right? But then now we're all going into the era where, I'm married. A lot of my guys, a lot of my friends, peers are having children. Like, we're starting to build the families of our own. And my wife talks about it too, to where she wishes that she had a better family atmosphere. And through it all, me, my mom, and bro are extremely close. We're 15 hours away, and some people always talk about, that know them and see them. And she said, "How often do you talk to your son?" My mom was like, "Every day." He's like, "I still talk to him every day." Some people can be 30 minutes from each other and not have
Correct.
that type of relationship. Like even in my phone, I talk to my boys, my best friends from school, every day. And there's value in that. And there are times where I wish that we even had a bigger network for that. It's just hard to trust people. And so that started young. And so now into the space to where I'm learning how to balance that and where you don't give too much too soon.
Mm-hmm.
And you take on, like you say, you test people to see if they, you give them a little bit to see if they can handle that. And then you jump into it. And then if they don't pass that test, so to speak, it doesn't have to be the end all to be all. You just know where they fit now.
Right.
Right? And sometimes we try to force somebody to be within that space because we see it one way.
Right.
And then when they don't meet that expectation, you like...
Then we're upset with them.
Yeah, but man, that's their body, not yours.
Right.
And so that's something that I've had to learn over time. Just looking back at, some blow-ups I've had, like some anger things, and just feeling like, man, like how could you do this to me? Right? It's not a personal thing, right? We all have our own flaws.
Right.
And then just balancing that out. That has helped me a lot with dealing with disappointment, dealing with those forks in the road when you already have a plan of how you think life should be. And then it switches us up and it goes this way or that way. Like, it's just reminding yourself, like, man, you just got to trust the path and just go. But I think BTG Nation, we just dropped some real heavy jewels on you guys, from Jules to Jeweler. Oh,
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, that's just the perfect one. I should be a rapper. It's a new age too. I might as well try. But stay tuned. Make sure HMD, we're on YouTube now too, Hoop Mountain Dubai. Subscribe. Follow the journey there as well. See if I get any better at basketball. See if the guy really knows what he's doing. BTG Nation, you know what it is. Follow us, like, subscribe, keep sharing. We can't thank you enough for every time that you come back and tune in. And you guys know how we end it. Keep it real, keep it simple, and keep going.
Player and coach, the brother to brother. They both got views that you need to discover. From sports, current events to just life talk. Whether you on a fast break or a nice walk, gotta tune in. You already know, G. This BTG Nation and you one of the homies. Just tune in. You already know, G. BTG Nation, the other ones in the nosebleeds.